Ja, hallå allihopa. Välkomna tillbaka. Jag tänkte fortsätta här med The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Jag var ju mitt uppe i en rättegång, mitt uppe i ett vittnesmål här. Men jag tänkte väl börja med att försöka sammanfatta vad som har hänt hittills. Så min karaktär har blivit anklagad för mord och jag lärde ta över för att min polare, min kompis som egentligen skulle vara vår advokat, skulle hamna i trubbel och inte få åka på någon skolresa eller hur det var om man inte om hon förlorade fallet, så jag tog över det istället. Som jag sa, jag är anklagad för mord för att när jag var på en restaurang så gick jag upp och pratade med en man. Men senare så blev den mannen skjuten och dumt nog så gick min karaktär fram och plockade upp pistolen. Vilket gjorde att de här två vittnena såg mig, men de påstår att det var jag också som sköt, att de såg det. Vilket jag tror var något jag motbevisade i deras senaste vittnesmål, att de var upptagna och något sånt där, jag vet inte. Hur som helst så kom jag ihåg att offret i fråga inte var där ensam på restaurangen, utan han var där tillsammans med en kvinna, vilket de här två jävlarna nekar. Men och väl nej, det var så att det var som supportade det claimen, för de var också att det bara var dukat för en person. Men jag har nyss fått reda på att han hade varit hos tandläkaren och han kunde därför var inte tillåten att äta. Så det måste ha varit någon annan där, och det är det jag ska bevisa nu, för de påstår ju att det bara var han där. Så jag skulle kolla vilket jag ska kontradikta här. Då presenterar du.
Yes! That statement contradicts the fact as demonstrated by this evidence.
What?
But that... Pull yourself together. You look though your eyes are about to pop out of your head. Oh, I can't help that. It's just my look.
Oh, wait. Okej. Är det här inte rätt? Är det någonting annat med här? Ja, okej, det är väl här då. Jag ska pressa. Nej.
Yes! Well, I think,
About what are you whickering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer?
I wish I could, but first and foremost here, I am the cursed.
Rinosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it.
Thanks, Kisuma.
I could see it quite clearly in the cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully. You knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. All right.
All right. And thanks for the advice. Korakura-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim.
I won't see. What of it, boy?
Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up.
Dear me. Have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur?
Sorry, what?
You are not to interrupt the court proceedings with your amateurish dribble.
But
Let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may have not done before that time is completely irrelevant.
That's
Remember, Rhinosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point.
Your Excellency, I believe we are finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card had no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else beside this pale force
This medical report card has nothing to do with the case? Do you really believe that?
What? That outburst half petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant?
Perhaps because Holder Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic.
A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me?
Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted.
What's this now?
And furthermore, if I told you as a result the victim had been forbidden from eating.
Just what are you trying to say, Goodhead? He had orders not to eat, so what?
It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off.
What? That can't.
Korekura-san.
What, boy? What?
As you just heard, when he was killed, sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all.
No.
Additionally,
There's more!
you have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case.
I guess he couldn't bryta sina doktors orders, tydligen.
Because the victim, as we now know, had just one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic.
Expertly done, partner.
What? What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table.
Objection!
Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic?
How dare you?
I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Rinasoku?
Yes, most definitely.
So having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who in fact was eating the picture beef steak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you are ready, counsel.
Counsel, oh, that means me, doesn't it?
All right. The answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of.
Got it. The person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been
Me! The victim himself, the two witnesses. An as yet known third party.
Ja, det är väl det enda troliga. Det är väl den där kvinnan vi refererar till. Det okända tredje partiet.
Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table.
Objection!
You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person.
Yes!
There was, because I saw her.
When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witnesses' testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial relentlessly.
Kazuma!
Are you insane? No. You would take on the government.
Don't worry, Counsel. I have no issue with you.
What do you mean?
I have issue with them, those two witnesses in the stand. Huh? What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with the evidence that the victim was not alone. So if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with the perjury. Perjury? And since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing.
Complicit in the murder.
Negative. There was no mention at the technical meeting. I was just following orders.
That's right. Estimation. That's what they told us.
Uh-oh. Okej, vem var det? Var det åklagaren där eller var det någon annan som sa till dem att göra det?
What? What did you just say, Korakura-san? You were just following orders.
Now hold on. I was
Say you never saw the gentlewoman? When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas?
What?
What is the meaning of all this? Witnesses gave false statements. Is this true, you pair?
Just one simple slip of the tongue.
Order! Order! Counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth.
Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this.
Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut?
That's classified.
So you're prepared to be tied as conspirator to this murder, are you?
You wouldn't. This can't be happening.
Rinasaku, judging from the way they are reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Ouchie had any idea about it.
What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose.
Well, any idea who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit.
So we need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut.
Of course. We'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here.
But how? How can we possibly?
Remember how we made progress before?
Before?
We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result.
Oh yes, that's right.
Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we missed. There is no time to lose.
I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe.
Please, wait, Your Excellency. I had no about any idea about this. I swear to every Shinto god. I knew nothing.
And what does the defense have to say about all this?
Your Excellency, no time to think. I'm just going to have to close my eyes and shout at the first thing that comes into my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses.
Ja, jag var ju alltid lite misstänksam mot den här mustangekillen i början som ville att vi skulle överge fallet. Eller som ville att vi skulle ta oss an fallet först, jag vet inte. Han som kom och ville att vår kompis inte skulle ta sig an fallet, för jag tänkte att han trodde att vi gör så här dålig, så han ville att vi skulle ta över det och misslyckas. Och därför var han misstänkt. Jag vet inte om det är han de syftar på nu. Det var väl den här, va? Medical school is authority in... Well, that doesn't sound like much power. Vad är det här då? Vad är vikten? Well, det finns ju inte så många att välja mellan. Här är den här då. Han är ju bara en professor. Nej, ju bara en professor. Varför skulle han ha makt? Här är en waiter, det kan ju inte vara det. Är det någon av de här två? Fast de sa ju att det var någon som berättade för dem. Jag är fortfarande suspekt den här. Han har inte kommit in i storyn på något sätt egentligen. Så jag testar bara att kasta ut den här.
Yes! There! What do you make of that? I think, counsel, that you may want to close your ear as well as your eyes. Otherwise, the size of disappointment in the courtroom may very well deafen you. Ah!
If you feel you must close your eyes in a crisis, might I suggest you keep your mouth shut next time too. Otherwise, I may have just to use the influence I have in this courtroom to shut it permanently.
I don't know what this is about, prosecutor, exactly, but it really makes me wince at the pain of sometimes.
I don't have a great deal of influence myself, but believe me, I can find other ways to make you keep your mouth shut well.
Alright, don't get angry, I'll think again.
There must be a clue somewhere in all that evidence in the court record.
Actually, now that I think about it, there might be some pieces of evidence I haven't thoroughly examined yet.
And what does the defense have to say about all this?
Well, Your Excellency.
Okej, det var så tidigare. Okej. Så de hintar att jag ska först kolla igenom bevis. Och se om jag kan hitta någonting som inte... Eller? Jag kan inte komma in på det, eller? Jag vet inte vad Rasutheis. Om det är något viktigt. Samtidigt som han är ju fan i armén. Så. Ja, jag skyller på honom.
Yes! There! What do you make of that?
Okej, failade igen. misslyckas. Jag inte behöva göra om allting. Jag har bara ett grej kvar. Save. Hej, vem kan det fan då vara? Besides the prosecution. Så vi kan inte anklaga honom. Det här vore ju en twist, men jag ser ju inte riktigt varför. Offret själv? Eller ska jag bara ta på den här? Testa på den.
Yes!
Okej, jag misslyckas igen. Där kan jag loada. Nu kommer jag ju få starta och få game over i alla fall. Är det den här? Offret själv fick de att inte. Nej. Nej, jag är lite för... Så the waiter. Jag vet inte. Det kanske man kanske skulle kollat på beviset innan man kom in på den här skärmen. Jag vet inte. Det kanske fanns någonting extra om den här. Jag menar, I guess it makes sense. Som att han bara kom in, men vi fick aldrig göra någonting med honom, så jag förväntar mig att han ska komma tillbaka.
Yes!
Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosanaga-san. Hosanaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier?
Objection!
Poppycock. What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence.
For once, I would agree with you. If that is, the man truly were a waiter.
Okej, så han var ingen waiter.
Well, if he truly were...
Come on, Renasaku. Time to hit this court with the truth.
Jag undrar vad man fick. Okej. Så jag kollade inte på bevismaterial, men tydligen ska det finnas någonstans där det finns en ledtråd till den där sanna identitet. Magnifying glass. Okej. Det här är ju den som vi fick av honom, så står det någonting på baksidan här. Här står det någon suspekt.
Well, that's unexpected.
What is?
Look, do you see that it says the witness's name here, Saturana Hasunaga?
Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point.
It's not the name that's unexpected, it's his job title.
His job title? Oh! Chief Inspector Satora Sanaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth?
I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence if they're wielding it somehow here.
Okej, så nu vet vi att han är polis alltså. Så vi ska presentera det här beviset.
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant sketch by the man in question. I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I am not sure we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency, that's the back of the card. It's the back of the back that's the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon? Or perhaps I should have said the front? Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say?
Hosonaga-san sketched a plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession, his true profession. The waiter's profession, but that's surely... Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau.
What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before?
The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power, absolute power as far as irregular civilians are concerned. So, the witnesses there in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Well...
Oh, who?
Inspector Hosonaga. I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course, here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigation flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake.
So, you mean to say, you really are a detective?
But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course! Your salary must be...
I was working undercover.
Undercover?
Yes, there had been a series of incidents at the restaurants recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover.
Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents?
That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide.
Very well then, Inspector Hosanaga.
But you will elaborate on one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact a person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would have been aware of this person's presence, having served the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you require these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Ahem. Correct, Your Excellency.
Unbelievable!
As I suspected.
Bang! As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused ex-student. Sitting opposite to the victim at the same table was a young lady whom I guessed to be an English woman.
So the truth comes out.
I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the bureau. It was then that I received some special orders.
Special orders? You mean to say...
Remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman present at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders.
But what if that Englishwoman was the killer?
I think it would be in everyone's interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. The name of an Englishwoman as the primary suspect. Well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question.
So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case.
But it's not right.
Okej. Så är det han som är mördaren eller är hon som är mördaren? That's what I'm thinking now.
One possibility does spring to mind.
What do you mean, Kazuma?
Yumei University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain. and I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying in the medical faculty's research laboratory, is a young English woman.
What?
You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour.
You mean?
When I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first.
Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector.
As the English woman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Mrs. Albrecht. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of University's medical faculty.
What is happening here?
I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all the evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation.
Very well, my thoughts on the matters are as follows. Thus far the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise, namely that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
Objection!
But, Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions.
Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom.
Oh,
Inspector Husonaga.
yes, sir.
You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency.
At once, Your Excellency. But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly.
So it won't be a problem.
Nothing will get in my way.
Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear?
Yes. Your Excellency.
Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconceiving. Okej, så en recess, vilket leder mig till att förvänta mig att vi är halvvägs genom det här caset. För det brukar väl vara så, tror jag väl. Där är halvtid. Och vi förväntar väl att den här brittiska kvinnan ska dyka upp här. Undrar om det var den vi såg tidigare. En glimt av i början tillsammans med den mustaschmannen som jag fortfarande är misstänksam mot.
Excellent work, Ridder. That was superb.
My heart was in my mouth the entire time.
It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you would start finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer.
Forget it. It's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again.
Ha 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 ha. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Missy Ysail Brett, a student from Great Britain, is she?
That's what I'm trying to tell everyone from the start. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone, and there was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along.
Yes, you have, haven't you?
I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observations are one thing I'm sure of.
Yes, I can see that. So about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Did you see what happened with that?
No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself, and then on the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor, and just after I bent down and picked it up, bang!
Okej, det var en glögg sak jag fick glömma bort. Skottet gick samtidigt som han plockade upp. Okej. Så han gick förbi, plockade upp pistolen och så någon annan sköt.
I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen.
Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay.
Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area.
There you are. Well done, both of you.
Professor Mikodama.
Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectation, I have to say.
Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial.
Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may result in our study tour to Great Britain being cancelled.
Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone else's time by going to study overseas anyway.
What?
What? What are you saying, Kasuma?
So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way.
Kasuma?
Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man.
To me?
Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case.
Come to think of it, he said the same thing to me earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim?
Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Williams was a visiting professor at UMA. And it was I who invited him.
Oh, I see.
I didn't know that before.
Anyway, you're about to go into battle. And the victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible.
But let's not forget who we're up against. The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to an extraordinary length to hide.
Yes, I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. Well, I have no doubt that you will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Now then, I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something we may need.
Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama.
Defendant Naruto! Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once.
It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow before those old fossils knows what hit them.
Kazuma.
What?
Thank you. Really.
What for?
Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I already been found guilty by now.
Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer and as a friend.
Coming from you, that means a lot.
Okay.
He's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whether we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial.
You can treat me one of those sukayaka meals I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course.
Okej, jag kommer inte ihåg vad han sa nu, den där mustaschprydde mannen. Men han sa att han var involverad på något sätt. Eller engagerad. Så fortfarande misstänksam att han är själva hjärnan bakom det hela. Och att det är han vi kommer sätta dit i slutändan. Det vore inte förvånande.